Welcome, everyone. Have you ever stared at a dense, 50-page document and wished you could instantly extract just the crucial insights? Today, we are mastering summarization. We will transform how you distill massive documents into sharp executive summaries, concise bullet points, and TLDRs using advanced AI techniques. Let's get started. Let's start with the foundation. What is summarization mastery? It is the process of condensing lengthy content into its absolute essence while removing the fluff. With Claude's massive context window of up to 1 million tokens, we can now feed entire 50-page reports into the AI at once. But why does this matter? Because reading raw data scales poorly. By mastering summarization, you accelerate your team's decision-making. How do we do this? We must move beyond lazy prompts like, "Summarize this." We have to engineer our prompts to dictate focus and format. Deep down, Claude isn't just deleting words, it's using semantic attention to synthesize ideas across the entire document. Looking at this flowchart, you see the journey of a 50-page document. It enters Claude's massive context window, where the true magic semantic analysis happens. Instead of a single, generic output, this analysis engine can branch out to produce whatever format you need: a high-level executive summary, punchy key bullets, or a fast, actionable TLDR. It's one input driving multiple, tailored outputs. Not all summaries are created equal. To be a pro, you must master the 3 levels of summarization. Level 1 is the executive summary, just 1 or 2 paragraphs capturing the absolute essence for a busy executive. Level 2 is the key points summary, spanning 1 to 2 pages, highlighting main arguments and critical data. Level 3 is a comprehensive summary of 2 to 5 pages, keeping all the nuance but dropping the bloat. Why do we separate these? Because handing a 5-page summary to a CEO who asked for a TLDR is a failure. You control these levels by explicitly defining length constraints in your prompts. This pyramid perfectly visualizes our summarization hierarchy. At the wide base, we have the Level 3 comprehensive summary, capturing the most detail. Moving up, the information is distilled further into Level 2 key points. Finally, at the very peak, we reach Level 1, the razor-sharp executive summary. As we move up the pyramid, the word count decreases, but the density of high-value insight reaches its maximum. Let's explore 2 powerful strategies: progressive and prospective summarization. The progressive summary works in steps. First, ask Claude for a 1-sentence summary, then expand it to a paragraph, and finally to detailed bullets. This helps Claude build a solid logical foundation. Next is the prospective summary. This is where you tell Claude who the audience is. Summarizing a tech document for a lead engineer requires a vastly different tone and vocabulary than summarizing it for an absolute beginner. We also have the critical summary, where we instruct Claude to pull out the main claims, the supporting evidence, and any hidden biases. It's about adapting the lens through which the data is viewed. Look at how the perspective lens changes everything. The exact same raw document flows into our AI. But based on the persona we set, the output diverges completely. A manager gets a summary focused on ROI and timelines. An engineer gets a technical architecture breakdown. A beginner gets a simple, analogy-driven TLDR. The data is the same, but the extraction is personalized. When you are dealing with a 50-page document, how you structure your prompt is a matter of success or failure. The golden rule for long context prompting is this: put your long-form data at the absolute top of your prompt. Your actual instructions and queries must go at the very bottom. Why? Because placing the query at the end acts as a recency anchor for the AI, improving response quality by up to 30% and preventing details from getting lost in the middle. You must also use XML tags. Look at the sample code, wrap your massive text block in document tags, and put your summary request in instructions tags at the bottom. It provides clear, unambiguous boundaries for Claude to follow. This diagram illustrates the perfect prompt payload architecture for long documents. Notice the flow. The heavy payload, our 50 pages wrapped in document tags, sits at the very top. Below that, we optionally place our few-shot examples. Finally, anchoring the bottom of the payload, we have our explicit instructions. Claude reads top to bottom, so encountering the instructions last ensures they are perfectly fresh in its active memory before generating the summary. The biggest risk when summarizing large documents is hallucination, when the AI confidently invents information that isn't there. To conquer this, we use factual grounding. The secret is to force Claude to extract verbatim, word-for-word quotes from the document before it writes the summary. By asking Claude to place these quotes inside a specific quotes tag, We force its attention mechanism to physically anchor onto the truth. Only after the quotes are extracted does it synthesize the final summary. For an extra layer of armor, explicitly give Claude the permission to say, "I don't know." If a specific metric isn't in the 50-page text, telling the model it's okay to admit ignorance will drastically reduce fabricated claims. Follow the sequence diagram carefully, as it's the ultimate defense against hallucinations. The user sends the 50-page PDF with a grounding prompt. Claude scans the document, but notice the crucial intermediate step. Claude outputs the raw, verbatim quotes first. It establishes a factual workspace. Only then does it synthesize the data, delivering a grounded, hallucination-free final summary back to the user. Often, you aren't summarizing just one document. You are synthesizing 3 or 4 50-page reports together. This requires a systematic research synthesis workflow. First, you provide the documents, carefully separating each with its own numbered doc tag. Second, you instruct Claude to identify key themes and patterns across the entire corpus. Third, you demand cross-referencing. Claude must explicitly state which document supports which claim. Finally, you ask for a structured summary organized by those themes, highlighting any conflicting viewpoints between the authors. If you are building automated pipelines, you can even enforce structured JSON outputs, so the final synthesis drops perfectly into your database. Here we see the power of multi-document synthesis. We have 3 massive, distinct inputs flowing into our Claude synthesis engine: market data, a user survey, and competitor specs. The engine identifies common themes bridging these sources, then aggressively cross-references the claims to ensure accuracy. The final output is a single, unified thematic summary that connects dots a human might have missed during a manual read. Let's apply this to a high-stakes, real-world scenario, auditing a 50-page mergers and acquisitions report. The challenge is immense high token volume, zero tolerance for hallucinations, and the need for a crisp executive format. We build our prompt strategically. We wrap the M&A text in document tags at the top. At the bottom, we assign the persona of a senior financial analyst. We apply factual grounding, instructing Claude to extract verbatim financial risks into quotes. Then, we ask for a level 1 executive summary focused solely on deal blockers. The execution is flawless. Claude anchors to the exact legal clauses, ignores the irrelevant fluff, and delivers a bulletproof 2-paragraph TLDR that auditors can instantly trust. This sequence maps our real-world M&A scenario. The auditor submits the 50-page report paired with the analyst persona prompt. Claude internally extracts the critical liability clauses into quotes to establish absolute factual truth. It then compresses that truth into a highly impactful level 1 executive summary, delivering the exact strategic intelligence the auditor needs. To wrap up, if you are summarizing large documents at scale, you must optimize. Use prompt caching. By caching a 50-page document, subsequent questions about it cost 90% less and process in milliseconds. If you are having a marathon chat about a document, utilize server-side compaction, which automatically summarizes older parts of your conversation to keep the token count manageable. And for bulk tasks, like summarizing 1,000 daily reports, use the batch processing API to cut costs in half. Mastering summarization means dictating the depth, shaping the perspective, and forcing factual grounding. Thank you for joining this session. I invite learners to like, subscribe, and visit quicktechie.com for premium certification prep, including Q&A banks, full ebooks, audiobooks, full-length training, and interview guides. Our final diagram illustrates the ultimate optimization: prompt caching. You upload the 50-page document once, passing it through the cache layer. From that single cached context, you can run multiple diverse queries in exec summary, a risk analysis, and metric extraction. All subsequent queries bypass the heavy processing, delivering lightning-fast, ultra-cheap summarization mastery.